That's interesting. Microsoft buys Activision. Well, that's impressive. I mean, that's going to change the video game landscape, really. I mean, how is that going to affect Sony as their main competitor? They own so many huge properties now. That definitely is worth making a video of. Yeah, I think that might just be my next video. Wait, hold the phone, hold the phone. Playmates is making new Star Trek figures. Forget the Microsoft stuff. This is the important thing. What's up, Internet? Jay here with Nerd Rage Against the Machine, and today we're going to be talking about some exciting news and also a classic toy line. So just got released yesterday that Playmates is getting back into the Star Trek game with a new Star Trek Classics line, including both TNG, Wrath of Khan, Classic Era, and even some Discovery figures. And it got me thinking, especially since I just got done doing a video not that long ago on the Mego Star Trek line. So, a little history here. Star Trek, unlike Star Wars, has had kind of a weirdly rocky relationship with toys. Whereas Kenner kind of knocked it out of the park day one with Star Wars. I mean, if you know, other than the whole we didn't have anything ready for the Christmas of '77 thing, which could happen. Pretty much, if you think Star Wars toys, you think Kenner. Even today, with Hasbro owning the license and Kenner being non-existent effectively, Hasbro will occasionally put Kenner's name on products just for the nostalgia factor, just for the sheer beauty of that's what we have. We have Kenner. Well, originally, before Mego even got a run at it, it was either Ideal or Remco that got the rights for Star Wars toys, and it was mostly just slapping the Star Trek logo on the sides of other toys. These are a bunch of space-type tanks and vehicles and little army men, and we'll just put Star Trek on it and call it a day. It wasn't until Mego that we really saw, oh my God, here's an iconic line of toys that fits the show perfectly. And they would have that license pretty much until the movies. The movie kind of killed the license because of the sheer non-toyetic nature of the film. And Mego kind of walked away, and that was the end of it. You could kind of see a similar parallel with the Next Generation. Galoob jumped on the license almost immediately. And the line suffered from, one, being Star Wars scale, which was okay, but two, not really knowing where to go with it, and with Star Trek Next Generation not really having much of a backstory yet. You see this with the role-playing game too, where the Antikin and the Slay became important characters because there were no other real aliens. And they did that in the line too. They made an Antikin and the Slay action figure, but Galoob kind of stopped the line after about first season. We got a shuttle, we never got a bridge, we got a chunk of the crew, and then it just died. And a lot of that was, nobody was really sure where Star Trek, The Next Generation at least, was going at that point. It would later come about 92, 93 that Playmates would get the line. And I remember at the time thinking, the guys who make Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they're going to do Star Trek? And I was especially apprehensive because I'd seen their Dick Tracy line, which was badly out of proportion. And that was, again, because they were taking a lot of their cues from their most successful toy line, which was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And what you saw was a lot of, weird proportions, and also what I would call, technically it's articulated, but it's really meant to be in one specific pose kind of designs. The Shredder comes to mind, where he's kind of like in this looking pose. Yeah, his legs do move, but they're really meant to stay in that crouch. Yes, this arm moves, but it's really meant to be outward, like a martial arts dim mak death touch thing, as opposed to on his side. Whereas again with a Star Wars figure as an example, or a GI Joe, you can put them in a battle pose, or you can just have them sitting, lounging, standing, what have you. And when the line hit, I was excited. We hadn't had a real good Star Trek toy line in a long time, and so the first guy I picked up was actually Gowron here, and these are all my originals. This is one of those lines that's kind of stayed with me as long as I've had it. And I will say the line suffers a bit from the misproportion issue. You can really see it here in the Ferengi Warrior, where he just, this is the pose he's supposed to be in. This arm does articulate down, but to what end? He's supposed to basically be holding the whip and in that kind of back pose. Now, the line does evolve. Here, by comparison, is Quark from Deep Space Nine, who is a lot more likely to stand around, does have the sitting capability. His arms can raise. He could, do that kind of whip pose, but not. But he could also be serving drinks or tending bar, just like he does in the show. And this line actually, ironically, stayed around until the first movie, the 2009 Star Trek movie. Playmates put out a bunch of Star Trek toys with the Chris Pine Star Trek movie, or J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, and they worked, but they didn't work well. They canceled the second line. One of the most frustrating things for me as a collector, I was collecting them, was that they did the bridge as a build-a-figure, i.e. every character came with a part of the bridge. And then you would buy the bridge playset, which was like the view screen and the mat, and you just put all the pieces up there. And as they canceled the second wave, everyone out there only has half a bridge, unless you got a prototype or something or did some serious doctoring. That's where you're at. But back to this line, they did a lot of characters, and that's one of the things that I think really set this apart. When I first heard about it, thinking about the Galoob failure, I was kind of concerned, but Playmates' promise was they wanted to do to Star Trek what Kenner had done for Star Wars, create that expanded universe of characters, and they did. They created the classic era figures, they created Deep Space Nine, they did several of the movies such as First Contact and Generations. Heck, we even got a Darmok figure. Come on, I mean, while all your Star Wars fan friends are, going, do or try or do or do not, there is no try. Yes, you've got Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. Tenra, his arms wide open. How cool is that? They also did some characters from the books. Captain Calhoun comes to mind, and even some other fun figures such as the transporter effects figures, such as the Tashigar I have here. The line was very expansive. They even did some playsets, including the shuttle here, which you can hear taking off, and phasering Riker for no good reason. And the transporter, which uses a one-way mirror trick to simulate transport. There was also a fully designed bridge set and an engineering set. So they did do a lot with this line, and quite honestly, it's kind of weird because now we've got both Mego's return to the fold and Playmates' return to the fold. I guess that's the one beautiful thing, is that we're not want for choice in this world, or in this era of collecting, which is great. I'm looking forward to the new Playmates line, if nothing else, because they are going with a 5-inch line, which should be in scale with what we have here, as opposed to jumping to 6-inch, which I think is kind of a nice feature, and something that they kind of missed with the Star Trek movie figures. They went to the 3 3/4 and 12-inch, and I think like a 6-inch line that was god-awful looking. I'm sorry. The line looks good. I'm going to show some pictures here when I edit this course. But no, seriously, the line was, though, very well done, and it lasted for a long time. And it's hard to say that there's a definitive line for Star Trek like there is for Star Wars. I mean, the vintage collection of Star Wars figures of today still are at least in scale with the classic Star Wars figures from Kenner. Whereas, we have the 8-inch cloth costume Megos, and we have the 5-inch solid plastic PVC Star Trek by Playmates. Both are very cool, though. Like I said, I collected the hell out of this line when it came out. I have a bridge. It's just in storage. That's why it's not here. I have crews. In fact, one of my biggest heirlooms is that my wife and I got a chance to go to Trek Fest, which, so I live in Iowa, and I'm literally an hour away from Riverside, Iowa, which is the supposed birthplace of Captain James T. Kirk. If you go there, there's a Star Trek museum. You can buy Kirk dirt. There's also a plaque as to, this is the future birthplace of Kirk, and every year they have a convention. Best part about the convention actually is it's in a casino, and I went in full Firefly garb. My wife and I cosplayed Firefly, and I had to be escorted through the casino by guards because I was carrying the iconic gun from Firefly, and it looked a little too realistic. But I got to meet George Takei, Walter Koenig, and Nichelle Nichols. And while I got George Takei to sign my copy of the Star Trek RPG at the time, the Decipher one, and Walter Koenig to sign my copy of Babylon 5: A Call to Arms, because he's also Bester, my wife got the Playmates Star Trek bridge set to be signed by Nichelle Nichols, which I have in storage. And again, it's one of those things that I'm going to give it to my kid. I don't really plan on selling it. It's just kind of a cool heirloom. I did buy two of those when they came out. Actually, I got one for Christmas, which is the one that Nichelle Nichols signed, and then I bought one because I wanted to open it and have all the figures, because that's the kind of dork I am. But yeah, this line was great. And it evolved over time. Some of the earlier figures, you can kind of forgive some of the goofiness, but they did evolve, which is one of the things that was really cool about it. By the time you see the Deep Space Nine figures, they're very well proportioned. They look great. I guess that's really all I have to say on the matter. Did you guys collect this when it came out? And are you excited about the new stuff? Again, comments below, man. That's what we're here for. Go ahead and let's talk about the line. I would love to do so. And in the meantime, I guess I bid you adieu and happy collecting.